Hi everyone, welcome to my review of William Wyler's The Big Country from 1958. So yes, we are back once again, ready to discuss another Western on the channel. This time around, The Big Country, a film I saw last night for the first time, and yeah, really look forward to talking about this film today on the channel. But first of all, there will be a spoiler warning for this discussion. If you haven't seen this film, I simply recommend seeing it first, and then come back to this video, and we can go from there. We can talk about this from the comments, and yeah, various Westerns, of course, and celebrate cinema as always. And so yeah, with all that said, let's discuss my thoughts on this film, and this is the one that I saw, as I say, last night for the first time, watched it on Blu-ray, and yeah, it's the one that I've been looking forward to seeing for many, many years. A couple of years ago I saw Roman Holiday from William Wyler, and that's a film that I absolutely loved, and just really fell in love with that film. Obviously Gregory Peck as well in that one, and really great pairing. So I was really hyped to see this film. Obviously I love Westerns, but yeah, it's obviously a massive film, and it's epic in scope, and there's a lot going on in this one, and quite a lengthy build-up of events, and a very surprising film. And to sum it up, I think I found this to be a very unique Western film, and one that I did love overall, and I just thought, there's so much to take from this one. A lot of surprising elements to this as well. I think just the characters and some of the themes that were going on in this, and just the outcome of a lot of the threads in this one, yeah, it was very surprising to me, and I thought it was just so well directed for the most part. I think it just flows very nicely, and also just the visuals to this film are absolutely stunning. It was so nice to look at. The score as well, I thought was stunning, and just Gregory Peck especially in this film. He was legendary here, of course, as James McKay. Obviously a man who comes to the American West to join his fiancée, and of course Patricia, played by Carroll in this film, and she was really good in this film, and she does kind of play this very unique character, and I think that the way the film panned out, these two, I was quite surprised by it first, and yeah, I think it kind of made sense in the end, and obviously we have, yeah, James McKay though, coming to this kind of town here. But yeah, it seems like he's very different to a lot of the characters, and he gets treated quite poorly at first, and he appears to be kind of, to them at least, out of his depth, and somebody who's not ready for the ways, of the true West. And we have obviously Henry Terrell, who's the major in this film. He plays the father of Patricia, and he's the one that owns this massive ranch, and all kind of unfolds from there when they kind of meet, gather, and he tries to get, he kind of tries to make a Terrell of him, and tries to kind of make him one of their own, and it's something that clearly James McKay, Gregory Peck's character, does not really want to kind of be this kind of a guy, and he doesn't kind of play into the kind of the ways of all the kind of public here, and the characters are trying to kind of make him something he's not, and I think it's really well done at first, especially when we have the kind of the horse there, Old Thunder, and they try to they have this kind of ceremony when someone new comes into the town. They kind of try and prank him and make him ride this horse that obviously bucks, and will not obey anyone that kind of tries to ride it. So it's something that they try to play all these pranks on him. They try to get him to respond in the way that they always do, and it doesn't quite work. And he's someone at first who appears to kind of push back a bit, against the public, the community. And I think the way it was done at first, it was very, very gradual. I think perhaps the first act of the film, I wasn't huge on, but I did really enjoy. I was always very invested in this film, always kind of behind, especially this character of James McKay. But some of the other characters around him, I wasn't huge on at first. But after the first act, it really started to kind of, I think, find its footing and open up. And I think the actual narrative and the themes that were being explored, I was really connecting to, and the whole kind of idea of not, necessarily having to appear, to be, kind of determined, and someone who can, kind of look after themselves, and kind of respond to bullies and all this in a certain way. For example, the Hannesses, they're kind of first are teasing him, and then very quickly kind of attacking him, and really just going to town with him, when they kind of drag him with the ropes and all this, and I thought that was, on the roadside, that's something that led, at first it was quite a comedic scene, and I thought they'll probably just be teasing him, but then it did quickly lead to quite a serious incident. Of course, as we know, it does lead to the Major then responding, in an attack against the Hannesses, and of course, we learn very quickly this is not the reason, the fact that to get revenge and to show them who's boss, on the Hannesses, it's kind of something very deep, something deep-rooted that's happened, kind of been taking place over many decades, this kind of rivalry between these two families, the Terrells and, of course, the Hannesses, and Rufus Hannessy, played by Burl. Ives is the main kind of He's the father, of course, of this family, and he's the one that kind of comes into it a bit after the first act, and comes to the house, of the Terrells, and warns him, threatens him, and I think that's probably the moment, onwards where I really was, much more invested in the film, and from then it just kind of got better and better. And I think the final act was when I was truly, truly, blown away by this film, consistently, and I think that was a, stunning final act. I was just so invested, on the edge of my seat here, and I thought the way in which it culminated was truly stunning. It was amazing, it really was, and I thought just that whole kind of the way in which all the threads come together there, and all the themes are being explored, and including the rivalry between these two families, the way it kind of comes to a very tragic end, I thought was truly moving. I was always invested in this film, and I did enjoy Patricia, of course, and I did especially enjoy as well at first Steve Leach, his character played by Charlton Heston, and I think this character got, only got better over the course of the film. Really subtle character at first. It's very minimal dialogue from Charlton Heston, and I think he plays this character so well. One of the best characters in the film, Steve Leach, essentially the right-hand man of Henry Terrell, and someone who's been with him for many years. But even in the end, while he does go back for Henry, in the end when Henry rides towards the canyon to meet Rufus, I think there is something where he does kind of he does listen to I think James as well at the same time. So there's a lot of complexity. He does kind of earn the respect, James, of Steve Leach. They have that epic kind of massive lengthy fist fight in the kind of in the fields there, and that was hilarious, and also really quite epic, and it's something once again where kind of James is kind of proving that he is actually someone who's determined, who can defend himself, and someone who's not necessarily as he seems, just because he appears to be someone who's not picking fights, and kind of going around looking for trouble. He is he's definitely deep down someone who can defend himself, and it's kind of proven to Steve Leach. I like how it's more of a stalemate, really, even though it's quite clear that, in a sense, James, Gregory Peck's character, has kind of won the fist fight. It's something that there is that kind of mutual respect there, and the kind of nods. Once again, really great character, Steve Leach, and Charlton Heston in this film was just so great. I also absolutely love Jean Simmons as Julie in the film. She's someone who at first is a very kind of minimal background character, it seems, even though she's introduced in the first kind of 10 minutes or so, and I think despite that she does become a character who is one of my favourites in the film, and she really kind of opens up. I think around the hour mark is when things really start to escalate. The kind of romance that forms as well, between her and Gregory Peck's character of James, and this is when I was absolutely kind of loving the film, especially from here on, and I think because obviously at first I was thinking Carroll Baker's character, Patricia, with James, it's something it's not a romance I'm particularly enjoying too much, or something that's quite hard to kind of get behind, but obviously that is not the intention, and it soon became clear that the true romance of the film and the actual outcome is going to be them getting together, Julie and James, and I thought that was so well done, the way it was kind of built up, and it was quite surprising in that sense, the way it kind of progressed throughout at least the first hour of the film, and then I was kind of thinking, okay, that's where the film's going to go. And I think from then on, all the characters, all of the threads, all of the kind of themes that are being explored in this film, progress in such a way, and come to that great epic conclusion there, that final act, which is truly legendary and among the best for me final acts in a western, really, and I just thought the way in which kind of brought together all the characters we've mentioned, all the themes here, the threads. It was done in such a way, as I say, that was just truly moving. It was tense as well in places, in that final act with the kind of the way as well the dueling pistols come into it. Great kind of details that kind of first hinted at, in the first act, and they all kind of play a part really in the final act. And I thought just Gregory Peck's character once again of James, just shows that even though his enemy, kind of there, kind of does cheat, and he shoots before the kind of the sound there, it's kind of he does show mercy, and to his enemy in that sense, and he does kind of give him another chance, and shoots, of course, randomly, and that's a great moment. It's one of the best moments really in the final act. It does lead to the response from Burk to actually once again try to shoot down James, and that is when, very tragically and in a very surprising way, Rufus, the father, does actually shoot and kill his son Burk, and that is a really complex scene sequence that I thought was just, yeah, really surprising, and a lot of mixed emotions there, and it's something that's very human, this and the outcome. And I think Ives, he did win the Oscar for this film, of course, and he is truly amazing in this film. I thought it was a great performance. Obviously, not really in the first act too much, but his presence, when he comes into the film, it's just, he does kind of steal that scene there, and it's just, he commands the screen. Just such a great character, so well written and performed, really complex, and there's moments where he does, kind of mean well, and it's just such a interesting character that he plays, and I just thought Rufus was definitely one of the best, in this film, quite legendary to me, and I think, just the final act, the tragic outcome when both of them, the kind of fathers of the families shoot each other. Obviously, Henry and Rufus there kind of shoot each other at the end, and it's just a really tragic moment. They can't really let the kind of the family feud that's been going on for so long, kind of lie and kind of move on from it. They have to kind of it seems like kind of kill each other there, and it's a really tragic way in which the film ends. And I just thought, as a protagonist, James was so great, and someone who can root for so much in the film, and just kind of proving that you don't need to show off, and appear to be confident, determined, and all this, and someone who can defend yourself, because deep down you can, of course, be this person. You just don't need to kind of show off to everyone, and to prove yourself to the entire community. And it was so well done, and Gregory Peck plays this character perfectly, really, and he was just absolutely amazing in this film. I think just all of the side characters as well, really, they all played a part. And first, I think, the first act of the film, I didn't love, and it took a while to really truly get kind of thoroughly invested in this, but there were some sequences at first that I did really like, and I did especially like the Old Thunder sequence as well, and when not just the initial teasing, but when that kind of leads to, of course, James trying to actually grow a bond with this horse, and try to actually ride Old Thunder, and that was one of my favourite sequences early on in the film, and really in the entire film, actually. When he's with Ramon, who is a really great character in the film as well, played by Alfonso Bedoya, and he is just so charming and funny in this film, and I really like the friendship they formed, and in the end as well, he does, as we know, kind of ride off with Gene Simmons and Gregory Peck, and I thought that was just really a nice ending as well. The ending is bittersweet. Obviously, we have the tragedy of the two families, but then that romance that kind of obviously it implies they're going to be living together and go off together. And of course, the Big Muddy in this film as well, the way that kind of plays a role. And first, obviously, Gregory Peck kind of says he'll buy it, and soon into the film he says he'll buy this kind of ranch here, and he'll give water and all this to both families, kind of share this, and he won't discriminate against either one just because of the kind of feud, and he doesn't need to take sides. Another great kind of lesson in the film, and I thought that was really well done. And I think the bittersweet ending, though, where we have that kind of tragedy with the outcome of the fathers, obviously the father of Patricia as well will be no longer there, so that's really sad. And just as well, I think at the same time we have that really great uplifting ending with that romance, and that kind of, as well, as I say, Ramon there with the characters riding off. So it's a great ending, and I did enjoy Ramon throughout. I thought he was great in the film, and just little kind of side characters at first that really become more pivotal throughout the film, and just kind of grew to love even just other characters. I always love Ramon, and kind of Charlton Heston's character of Steve, but I think there was a couple of other characters in the film that I really grew to love as well. So I did love this film overall, and my rating for this is an 89%. So extremely high score from me, and one that I did have a great time watching. And I think if the film had been the kind of the investment levels of the kind of hour mark onwards, I guess it would have been way higher. But that's just what the film is. So one that at first I wasn't personally always loving the film. In the first kind of hour, just under that. But I think after that, it did kind of really come into its own, and I just loved the final act especially. It's just so great, and legendary stuff there. And I think the scope of this is quite something. A very sweeping film. I think a lot of personal moments and details, and I just love the themes. You're really connected to the characters, a lot of them, and especially James in this film, and even the kind of the rival families. There's a lot of complexity to especially Henry and Rufus, and it's just really so well done. The way they were kind of built up, and just really enjoyed most of the characters, and I just loved especially the romance that formed between, of course, Gene Simmons and Gregory Peck, and I thought as well Ramon was a great character. Steve Leach, played by Charlton Heston, once again, he was so great in this film, and just a great final act, one that culminates in such a way where I felt a lot of emotions. It was very tense and dramatic and tragic, but also uplifting and hopeful. I just really love how James never quite gave in to the families, and he still remained his own person, and someone who had his own kind of views, and did not kind of give in to the feuding and didn't play them off against each other, and he still tried to be peaceful in the end, as peaceful as he could be, but when necessary he did step up and kind of try to defend himself, and try to put things right. So I just think it's a really interesting character of James, and definitely the performances in this film and just the visuals, and the score, I thought was absolutely stunning, and throughout this film it just had so much details, and as I say, the first act of the film wasn't something I quite loved, but then as the film went on, I really did love this film. So yeah, that's my thoughts. What do you think on this film? It'd be really cool to hear in the comments your thoughts, your opinions on this, and how does it kind of compare for you to different Western films? It's a really unique film for me, and one that I did really love in the end, and it'd be really cool to discuss this film, of course, today on the channel, and to celebrate Westerns, of course. So yes, as always, take care, and thanks for watching.